Hello, Koreas! I'm Dongsun Jang, a neuroscientist and science communicator.
Hi, hello everybody. My name is Anna Riedemann. In Korea, I'm working under the name Yoon Anna. I'm an actress and I have been living in Korea for 9 years now.
Wow, so
Yes.
that means you are practically Korean.
I think because I spent most of my 20s in Korea, I feel like Korea has shaped me a lot.
I see.
Yeah.
I was born and raised in Germany, but I spent most of my 20s in Germany. So it's exactly the opposite.
Yes.
I think the reason why we are here together is because this year marks the 140th anniversary of starting the exchange between Korea and Germany. So here we are at the Goethe Institute.
Yes, I really like it. I already feel like home. With all the German books, it feels like my living room in Germany.
Actually, I was here at the exact same place in my teenage years. I came here every week to read German books. And it's interesting because the whole place has not changed so much. Goethe Institute is here to teach German culture and German language to Koreans who are interested in Germany. So I think we are at the right place to
Yes.
talk about Korea and Germany's relationships. Were you already interested in Korea when you were a teenager?
Yes, actually my interest in Korea started when I was about 15, 16 years old. I accidentally watched a Korean movie and I thought this language, this culture is so interesting. So when I decided to go to university, I thought, how can I combine my two big passions, which are movies and Korea? So I decided to study media science and Korean studies in Germany.
Oh, you studied Korean studies?
Yes, and it was the best decision ever. I still remember when I first started studying Korean studies, people would say, "What do you want to do with that?" And back then, people didn't really know what I can do. But I think in the last couple of years, the interest in Korea changed so much that there are so many job opportunities. And I am very, very happy that I became a person who can like serve as a bridge between Germany and Korea.
How come did you use Yoon as your family name?
Well, actually, when I first came here to Korea, I did an internship at the Unification Institute because I was really interested in Korean and German history about unification and division. Ask a friend in Korea, do you know somebody where maybe I can stay for 1 month? And it was the Yoon family.
Ah,
It started like a host family, but it really quickly became just like 엄마, 아빠, mom, dad. So yes, that was 9 years ago.
so you're still living together with
Yes.
them.
Yes.
Anna, since you're an actress, I guess you have watched the movie Ode to My Father, Korean title 국제시장. This movie shows a lot of interesting facts about the Korean-German relationship. Have you watched the movie?
Yes, of course. I really, really loved the movie. It's
Yes.
set in Busan's international market and it depicts the Korea's modernization period after the Korean War. And actually the main character, he's a miner worker who goes to Germany and marries a dispatched nurse.
That's right. I mean, the movie was kind of very personal to me
Yeah.
because my parents went to Germany exactly in that period, in the late 60s, 70s. My mother was originally sent as a nurse
Oh, really?
to Germany and later met my father, who was initially a soldier, but they both decided to study and go to academic track later. This movie is kind of showing the story of the time when my parents met in Germany. But actually, Those times were not easy for most of Koreans because Korea was just recovering from the war. And the
Right.
1960s were a very difficult time.
But on the other hand side, in Germany, it's like the time of where the economy flourished, and it's also called the miracle of the Rhine River, right?
Right. So that was a time when Korea and Germany started a very constructive relationship. Over a period lasting more than 10 years, more than 8,000 miners and more than 11,000 nurses were sent to Germany. And you can guess, their situation was not easy. Most miners didn't have mining experience, which led to severe injuries or even death while mining coal 1,000 meters below ground.
I can only imagine how exhausted life must have been being in a foreign country. And very often they were not fluent in the German language. So it must have been kind of lonely to live in that different country.
Nearly 20,000 dispatched workers in Germany. A lot of the sacrifice from the Korean dispatched workers was the foundation for the miracle of the Han River. So that's how the
The miracle
miracle
of
of the Rhine
Rhine.
River and Han River connects, right?
I actually had the very special chance to participate in a theater play about the nurses who went to Germany back then. It was in 2018. We had it at the Seoul Art Center, Yesure Jeondang. And it was the story about four nurses who went to Germany, and I played a German nurse who was like yelling at them and saying, "You have to learn German." I felt really bad because I could see like how stressful the life for the nurses was back then. I think this is a very interesting history concerning like the German and the Korean relationships. And this is amazing because I met nurses and I told them I participated, I acted as a nurse back then. Their heart was just like open. It's really important to focus not only on the political situation, but also really on the relationship between the people.
And actually, many of those people came back to Korea, and now they built a community in Korea in Namhae.
Yes, I've been there.
I was there too, and it's really nice that they kept their memory of Germany and built their own community in Korea too. During the Korean War, Germany provided medical aid to Korea. It established the German Red Cross Hospital in Busan in 1954, which treated more than 270,000 patients. This contributed to maintaining peace and freedom in Korea.
And I really think the two countries can cooperate in many aspects, also regarding reunification, because Germany succeeded in reunification, and probably Korea can also learn a lot from the German reunification.
That's right. I think many Korean people envy that
Yeah.
Germans are right now reunited. The Berlin Wall fell in November 1989.
Yeah.
But the official reunification happened 1 year later on October 3rd, very important day, 1990. Have you heard any stories about it?
My parents actually they did their honeymoon to East Germany.
I can understand it because if Korea would be reunited, I think most people don't want to go somewhere abroad. They want to go to places in North Korea.
So I'm always joking when I'm getting married, I want to do my honeymoon to North Korea.
Because I think Germany can be a very good model to guide us in our efforts for reunification and help us navigate social integration after reunification.
Maybe one day, just like the Berlin Wall, the DMZ can also become one big symbol in history.
So when we think of Germany, what pops into your mind? Then people say something about cars, German cars, BMW, Mercedes-Benz, Porsche, right? But some people also talk about food, German sausage, so good.
Haxen.
Schweinehaxen. You think of food, you think of cars, but actually you cannot miss German culture. you have to talk about Goethe, Beethoven, Mendelssohn, Heinrich Heine, Friedrich Schiller. You have so many great artists, musicians, writers. So Germany really is a country of culture.
And also because you mentioned like the German culture, which is known here in Korea. But these days I feel that it changed a little bit, that actually K-pop became so famous that German people right now, they really like the Korean music.
Or when German President Steinmeier visited Korea in November last year, he visited the Korean National University of Arts Film Institute to witness the Korean film education system. When I was young, the Berlin Film Festival was a benchmark for successful movies. And I'm genuinely moved by the fact that Germany visits Korea now to observe the growing of Korean film industry.
Yeah, that's actually it's my university.
Really?
I did my master at the Korean National University of Arts.
You studied acting there?
Yes.
Wow.
I wasn't there when Steinmeier visited the university, but it was like such an honor because when I first started to get interested in Korean movies and independent cinema, it wasn't a big issue. But now the president is coming here to visit and really to encourage these relationships. So I felt kind of proud. And I realized being here in Korea, when I mentioned I come from Germany, people would also mention soccer. It's something
football,
of
Fußball.
course, Fußball.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's interesting that the national team of Korea, the trainer is actually a German person.
That's
Klinsmann.
right.
It's so funny.
In Germany, some Korean football players were super famous,
Right.
like Chabum. Chabomgun, he was called Chabum, and he scored 98 goals in 308 matches. So he is a Bundesliga legend, and that's the highest score ever for Asian football player.
And I remember Son Heung-min when he was in Leverkusen and Hamburg,
Bayer
right?
Leverkusen,
Yes.
yeah, in Eintracht Frankfurt, right. So Chabomgun was super famous for the generation of my parents, but now Son Heung-min, and very recently Kim Min-jae.
Yes,
He is so important for Bayern München now, right? Anna,
Yeah.
do you know how many diplomatic missions are there in Germany from the Korean side? So you know there is a Korean embassy in Berlin,
Right.
but they have even more consulate generals. They have one in Frankfurt, one in Hamburg, and one in Bonn.
Wow, 4 diplomatic missions in Germany. That really
Right.
shows how active the Korean-German relationships are.
There are also special places in the Korean embassy in Germany that show the close relationship between the two countries. The official residence of the Korean embassy in Germany used to be a building used by the former German Chancellor Willy Brandt when he was the mayor of Berlin. Brandt was a leading figure in Germany's unification. Also, a Korean-style pavilion called Pavillon der Einheit, Pavilion of the Unity, was installed in the embassy garden. This pavilion was established in 2015 in commemoration of the 25th anniversary of German reunification and the 70th anniversary of Korea's liberation at the center of Potsdamer Platz in Berlin. This pavilion was relocated to the Korean embassy. It symbolizes the wish for peaceful unification of the Korean peninsula and friendly cooperation between Korea and Germany. Germany traditionally has been a manufacturing powerhouse, but recently Germany is also known to be a frontrunner in the so-called Industry 4.0, such as AI, IoT, and self-driving cars.
And especially these days, a lot of German car brands, they try to focus on producing electric cars.
Right.
And as electric cars, they need batteries.
Right.
I actually heard that Korea is the leader in battery production.
Korean companies hold around 63.5% of the battery market in Europe. But not only battery companies, there are many Korean companies active in Europe. And actually, when they want to sell more products in Europe, they usually go to Germany because cities such as Frankfurt are a big hub for the European economy. So many Korean companies such as LG, Samsung, or SK, they have an office in Frankfurt.
And I saw an article that the German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, he came to Korea
Right.
in May and for a summit, and he also met the President Yoon.
Both countries emphasized that they are value partners at the summit. The two countries are key partners who trust each other, cooperate, share common universal values such as freedom, democracy, human rights, and the rule of law.
And I really think that these values that are shared will maybe lead the Korean and German relationship for the next 140 years.
So today we talked about the 140 years of Korea-German exchange and the 60th anniversary of the dispatch of the Korean workers to Germany. How was it today, Anna?
It was interesting to talk about not only the past, but also the present, and especially about what is going to come in the future.
Right.
It just, I think we could keep on talking.
That's right. The time was almost too short, wasn't
Yes.
it?
So many things to talk about.
Shall we wrap it up in German, Anna?
That's a good idea. Sehr
Okay.
gut.
Sehr gut. Es war schön, es war ein schönes Interview heute und wir sagen Tschüss und bis zum nächsten Mal.
Vielen Dank fürs Zuschauen. Bis bald.
Tschüss.
Tschüss.